Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel and welcome to Board Game Breakfast, a show all about board games and the people who play them. We're really glad that you're here with us. I am excited about many different things that are going on this week. But first of all, I want to start by talking about a contest that's been running for Game Toppers. Game Toppers these are tables that you don't have to assemble and put together. They just actually fit on top of a table you already have. So you have that boring dining room table, you take one of these, you put it on top, and now you have what looks to be like a fantastic gaming table, because it really is. So if you go to their website, GameToppersLLC.com, you have the opportunity to enter a contest, like a Sherlock Holmes type contest there, with an actor who you might not have ever seen before, and win one of these. But you can also, if you mention a Dice Tower, win one of their mats. So there's a lot of different mats that we have on tables. We use mats on our own tables sometimes, and I got to be honest, guys, the Game Toppers mats are the best that I've seen, period. Across all the different mats and things for tables that I've come across, these are fantastic. They look good. They're the kind of, they're not too, much stuff going on. You can play a game on them. They're really, really fantastic, and you can win one. I'd be jealous. I would like to get one of these mats. So all you have to do to enter that is to go to their website, enter the mystery contest, and make sure you mention it from the Dice Tower, because someone who's a fan of the Dice Tower is going to win one of these. So check it out at their website, GameToppersLLC.com. All right, well, we got a show for you today, folks. Gen Con is a week and a half away, so there's going to be some Gen Con coverage this week, but we still have lots of games to talk about. There are many reviews that are coming up. I'm excited about all the different sorts of things. We got some live game playthroughs tomorrow and such, so let's just get started. All right, let's take a look at what I found on the internet this week. Rodney Smith from Watch It Played talked about Am I a Collector? Interesting kind of argument that people have. Do you collect board games, or do you collect them to play them? Do you collect them to have them? There's a lot of discussion in that. I thought it was very interesting. This is really cool. Somebody has made an app that you can basically take a picture of a finished Ticket to Ride game, and it will score everything for you automatically. Now, the app is only out for Android, so I haven't had a chance to test it because I have an iPhone. However, the designer of the app told me that they're working on an iPhone version. Still pretty neat. This was a funny, hilarious article about the Catan Spiel des Jahres award has been revoked. Just a humorous satire article, which then some people took seriously, but I thought it was pretty funny. Sometimes we get accused of reviewing games after too few plays. Well, I found a review of Cosmic Encounter reviewed after 184 plays. And if you think this person has played too few times, there's nothing else we can say to you. Proposals seem to happen quite often through board games, and so I found a person talking about how they propose using some custom Gloomhaven cards. Speaking of apps, I already mentioned one of those. There's another one, an app that you can use to help you run Pitchcard tournaments. Shut Up and Sit Down has reviewed Pipeline. I mention this mostly because we haven't got around to reviewing Pipeline yet. There's so many games out there, but it is on my queue. I'll get to it. And no pun included, reviewed Pax Pamir 2nd Edition, which I've seen some people in my game group really falling in love with. It has some really nice components. Do you like trains? Well, there's going to be an 18XX or train meetup in Richmond, Washington. So the link there will tell you how you can sign up and go to that. And then finally, the last things I want to point out, links on the internet. I went to ConCon a few weeks ago, and while I was there was a few things I participated in, some interviews and things like that. And so you can see the links to those. Realize that a lot of these interviews are in Chinese. Some of the questions were in English. I always answered in English because I don't know Chinese myself. But there's some back and forth. Was a famous video star in China and stuff. So if you just want to see a little bit of that, all the stuff I just mentioned, of course, is in links in the description below. If you find something interesting that you would like me to highlight on my What I Found on the Internet each week, send it to tom@dicetower.com. Let's keep moving.
This is Roy Caney, and this is Printed Pieces. We're talking about 3D printing and what it can bring to the board gaming hobby. So I've gotten a lot of comments of people wanting me to go back to some more of the basics of 3D printing. And I know I talked about a ton of this stuff back in earlier videos when I was just getting my 3D printer and unboxing it and building all that stuff. So if you want to check out previous videos of Board Game Breakfast, it's always on the main show, and you can check a whole bunch of those out if you look further back. But I did want to say my printer is a Ender 3, and it is kind of like a great introductory, super cheap printer. And I really enjoyed this being my printer because it shows people what you can do on a budget 3D printer. It is a little bit finicky. You have to make sure things are in the right place and set up right. It's kind of like a hobby within a hobby trying to make sure things are set up. But I have friends who have even better printers. My friend Kevin, who's made some amazing inserts, he has a Ender 5, which actually lowers from the extruder and different things like that, and he's made a ton of amazing inserts, like ones for Azul and things like that. And then my friend Randy has a Prusa, and it's definitely, he's made tons of amazing stuff on there. The cool thing about the Prusa is it even has self-leveling, so the bed levels itself, and it's just more user-friendly. But of course, the higher-end 3D printers you get, the more expensive they're going to be. I definitely don't have time in my 2-minute segments to go over all the 3D printers and review different ones because I only have the Ender 3 that I have. So there's definitely tons of amazing YouTube videos out there. And if you're interested in 3D printing, I would suggest just searching 3D printing or 3D printing tabletop games. And there's tons of amazing websites and people to give you tips and tricks on how to set up your printers and how to get it going. There's tons of amazing things you can print for board games, and it's super exciting. So I hope you'll join me in the journey of 3D printing like you have every week, and go back and check some of those older videos too for my journey as well. Well, thanks so much for joining me on Printed Pieces, and I'll see you on the next one.
Can you read my mind? Just kidding. The Mind card game plays really well. Cooperative game where you put together certain numbers and trying to read your friend's mind. What is it about? Coming up. So, have you played The Minds with your friends? Game usually goes like this. That's right. You don't know what cards your friend have, and they don't know what cards you have. And you have to put together a stack of cards in ascending order. So what do? Do you stare at each other? It really depends what cards you have. Because, for example, at the start of the turn, if you have one card, sure, it's easy. You just immediately play number 1 to make sure that no one else would do it before you. But later on, basically, you just stare at each other and try to figure it out. Who's got the lowest card, who gets to play the cards first, and so on. This game's really interesting. I really like it. It's just another level. In The Mind, it's such a simple game. It's just a card game, and you just trying to work together somehow in non-speaking way, maybe body language way. It usually turns out a chaos. I'm not too sure what strategy that I should employ yet. It feels like it has not been going that well, but we really, really enjoy it. So thanks for watching. If you have tips for me in regards to how to play The Mind very well, please let me know. If you enjoyed my segment, please consider checking out Meeple University on YouTube. See you next time.
So what are we taking a look at this week on the Dice Tower? Well, like I said, we're going to have some Gen Con coverage. So later on this week, we'll be doing our top 10 anticipated games coming out at Gen Con 2019. And we'll have a few other possibly Gen Con related videos. Our back talk on Friday is going to be about Gen Con. And we're going to put out a video this week talking about what we're going to be doing at Gen Con and the various events that are going on there. So stay tuned for that. Also, we have different reviews. I'm going to be reviewing Escape Plan, a big Vasel Lacerda game this week. I'll be taking a look at Vinyl, the several other games, small games and big games, trying to do a mix of those. We're also going to be doing live stuff. We're going to be doing some live plays tomorrow. On Wednesday, we'll be taking a look at Kickstarter stuff on crowd surfing. On Friday and Thursday, I already mentioned those, but our live board game breakfast on Thursday, if you've never seen one of those, come on out and join join us there. So all that, Manny and Suzanne are putting up a Dice Tower podcast. It's going to go up this Tuesday. So we have various Dice Tower different things going on. And of course, I should always mention all the different podcasts on the Dice Tower Network. You can listen to board gaming goodness forever. Just check out DicetowerNetwork.com.
Hello, we're Board Game Opinions. I'm Jonathan, Steve,
Amy,
Mark, and this is our speed quiz where contestants are attempting to guess as many games as they can in a certain category. And this week's category is economic games. Now, there's loads of these, so anything in the top 100 on Board Game Geek will count. There's actually 34 possibilities in the top 100. As always, you get 2 points if it's a game I've not played, or 1 point if it's a game that I have. And we're going to start with Steve, I think this time. Off you go.
Eclipse.
No.
Sulk and the Mayan calendar.
Yes.
Power Grid.
Yes.
Concordia.
So 1 second. Concordia is a yes.
I was excited to get 1 point. I don't know.
Agricola.
Yes.
Scythe.
Yes.
Coimbra.
No.
Caverna.
Yes.
Yokohama.
Yes.
Wingspan.
Yes.
Feast for Odin.
It's a Feast for Odin, isn't it? Yes.
Agra.
No.
Terraforming Mars.
Yes.
Seven Wonders.
No.
Patchwork.
No.
Um,
I'm gonna open it to
Twilight
the
Imperium?
floor, I think. Yes.
Waterdeep.
No.
Crown of Amara.
No. A little
Dominion.
bit of time left. No.
Catan. Oh, it's not in the top 100.
No. I think Euros. Euros, people. Little bit of time left. No.
Western Trail. Great Western
You mean
Trail.
Great Western Trail? No. That's time. Give me a second to start with the scores and we'll see how they did. Alright, so Steve managed to get 3. Amy also got 3, but Mark ran away with it with 5 points. Well done to Mark. Other things you could have had were Anachrony, Brass, Kalis, Food Chain Magnet, Gaia Project, Keyflower, Mombasa, Roll for the Galaxy and Race for the Galaxy, Puerto Rico, The Voyages Marco Polo. There was quite a lot they could have got there. Did you get any that they missed? Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Hey folks, welcome back to another Just Miss It episode here on Board Game Breakfast. Decided to switch it up a little bit. Usually I'm doing Accessorize, but I found a game that I was really excited about it, even though it's a kid's game. And when we played it, it was disappointing. Talking about this one right here, Bermuda Pirates. Now, the thing that really attracted me to this game is that you're taking and you have these magnetic boats, and the board is actually 2 layers that can be assembled in a number of different configurations. And in the bottom part of the board, you actually have magnetic discs randomly placed throughout the board. And you can reconfigure these boards to put those magnetic spots in different pieces on the top board, different places in the top board, with each different game that you play. I was like, that sounds awesome. Then the boat is magnetic. That sounds awesome. You're trying to collect gems from the center island and get them back to your home island. And whenever you hit one of those magnetic spots, it flips your boat up and it tosses the gems that you have onto the board, or maybe even off the board, or onto somebody else's home island. It actually happens that way. And I thought, this sounds like a really neat idea. We started playing it, and the design of the boats themselves, I think, is what's pulling it off. Now, I'm going to review this, and I may even have my son Aiden would join me. But if you can see here, the boat has this little ridge right here, and unfortunately, it's not quite weighted exactly. Maybe it's because the table is uneven, or the boards are uneven, but sometimes this thing just pops up. And the equilibrium here, I guess, isn't exactly right. But the 3 colors that we played green, yellow, and purple in our game so far. And each one of them had difficulty. We actually felt like sometimes we had to hold it down so that it wouldn't flip up. And if we had any gems on there, we couldn't move it correctly. And so I was so wanting to just really enjoy and love this game. And it was just a frustration. So we're going to revisit it. But right now, it's just missing the mark of getting a good review from me, because the one thing that's the draw point of your game and it doesn't work exactly quite right, that's a little bit hard. But anyway, that's it for me. Please check out the game because it looks great. The component quality is good. These are the boards that have the different magnetic thingies on them, and they have posts. This goes down on the table first with the little posts in it right here, and then those posts clip in to one of the parts of the board, and there's 4 of those in here, so you can have it configured that way, or you can have this board come in here like this, and have it configured that way. So there's a number of different ways. So that was another thing I was like, oh, that's so cool, that's a great idea. You change where the spots are that are magnetic. But again, we're just gonna have to wait and see. But right now, just missed the mark of greatness. That is Bermuda Pirates. It's probably gonna stay there unless something changes. We'll see, and I'll let you know in the review. But anyway, let's get back to the rest of your breakfast. Take care.
All right, so what's getting added to the Dice Tower library this week? Well, I'm putting in the new books here, the graphic novel adventures, for some light reading. Choose your own adventure. Century, A New World. Actually, what I did here, and I think it's pretty neat. Well, I shouldn't say I did it. Melody did it. We managed to fit all 3 Century games into one box. The library's going to have all of them in one box, but then we're also going to have them as separate games, too. Speaking of everything in one box, we have Museum. All the expansions for Museum are in this one box. We also have Draftosaurus. This is a great little drafting game. We have Era, which is going into the library. And then the Diluvia Project. This is the new edition of the Diluvia Project from Tasty Minstrel Games. Bunny Kingdom has its expansion inside the box now, so that's getting added to the library. And Space Base and its expansion are now being stored inside the big giant box here. And then finally this week we're adding in Kenny G Keeping It Sexy because I think that's pretty funny. I shouldn't say finally because that's not the last thing we're adding this week. I forgot. We have Thunderstone Quest with the new Thunderstone Quest barricades and some other expansions in here. And this thing is packed to the gills with, look at this. There's all the cards in the bottom. Everything else is in the top. Just barely fits in, but we got it. So the library just keeps getting cooler and cooler. That's what we're adding this week.
Hello, and welcome back to Retro Board Game Corner. Here I have Silverhawks, published in 1987 by Parker Brothers. This is a 2 to 4 player game to see if you can stop the evil Monstar. Let me set this up and show you how it works. Tally Hawk! So this is what the game board would look like set up. First you're going to put Monstar's mob all the way across the outer circle here. The inner circle will be these wedges which will serve as shields for Monstar. And then you'll pick your favorite Silverhawk and start them at these 4 locations. On every single one of your turns, you're going to spin the spinner here that says fly. And then whatever color it lands on, you will move your mover either clockwise or counterclockwise to whatever space you want. If there is a member of Monstar's mob there, you can decide to battle it by spinning this battle spinner. On a hit, you'll hit. On a miss, you'll miss. If you hit it, the disc comes to you. And if you miss, it just stays where it's at until your next turn. So once you start defeating the members of the mob, these open spaces will become available. So the next time you land here on these, then you'll start attacking these shield wedges. Again, you'll do the same thing as a regular battle. On a hit, you'll hit it. and on a miss, you'll miss. The game is over when all these wedges are gone, and then everybody's going to count up their points on the back of each card, their stars. Whoever has the most points will get to put Monstar in jail. The game is over. The Silverhawks cartoon debuted in 1986 with a 65-episode run. This game is sort of like Candyland, but it would make a great addition to anybody's Silverhawks collection. Now come on, David Phillips and I can't be the only people that remember the Silverhawks. If you remember the Silverhawks, why don't you comment below, or you can tweet it to me at RetroBoardGamer. And as always, may your rolls be high.
Happy breakfast, everyone. This week I'm going to talk to you about Harry Potter Double. Now, I thought I was a Harry Potter fan, but apparently not quite enough. Now, I get the main characters, the Harry Potters, obviously, Rons, Hagrids and all of them, and I get most of the creatures. I get sort of like Hedwig, Scabbers, Fluffy, and those. But even then, there's some characters that aren't main ones, like Lupin. There's certainly some creatures on there that I now even can't remember the name of that are included, and it makes it a little awkward when it's like the Philosopher's Stone. I still can't even say the word. Sorcerer's Stone, if you're American, much easier to say. The Scar, the Lightning Bolt Scar, glasses. They're easy to say for what is a quick, fast game about matching symbols. But when you're like, the blue thing, that guy, it takes away from the game, because all of a sudden you have to take a step back and be like, oh, you mean that guy? Yeah, they match. And I kind of maybe like the original Double for that ease. But I think for Harry Potter fans, and not just people that have enjoyed the films, like really good fans that will like know maybe all of the symbols off by heart, and they're like cartoony versions of the characters, I think you could really like it. But for me, bit of a struggle. Anyway, that's Harry Potter Double, and enjoy the rest of your breakfast.
All right, folks, let's take a break from the show. I have an interview here now with Julia Klokova from HobbyWorld Games. Welcome.
Hi, Tom. Hi, guys.
So this is an exciting year. This is the first time HobbyWorld is coming to Gen Con. I've run into you all in Essen before, but you're coming to America for the first time.
Yeah, it's our first time and we're so thrilled about it. We are going to have booth number 2765 in the Entrepreneurs Avenue.
So one of the things that I think maybe the game that most people know Hobby World for is Spyfall. Certainly a game that we love here at Dice Tower. And then there was a sequel. There was Spyfall 2, and Cryptozoic published DC Spyfall. But there's a new version coming out.
Yeah, Spyfall Time Travel, where you will travel to the future and to the past, and we'll try to figure out who is the spy there.
So this game it's compatible with the earlier ones.
Yeah,
what are the differences?
Compatible. Yeah, it's fully compatible. You will have only one spy there, but there are 20 new locations, and they are total fun.
So is there any other new rules, or does it play pretty much the exact same way?
Yeah, there are some new rules. Now you can play with 2 players, and there is a team variant. So you should check it out.
One of the things that I find interesting with Hobby World is we're seeing games come from Russia. Just a decade ago, there was very little representation from Russia in the board gaming world, but now we're starting to see it grow. How has that affected your company?
That totally affects our company because we are trying to speed up our processes, and we are looking at so many great games, so many great concepts right now. And we are working not only with the Russian game designers now, we are expanding and we are looking for the best game designs all over the world and trying to bring them to the market.
So what differences do you notice between the Russian game market and the American game market?
The Russian game market still is growing really fast, and we like different games. And if earlier we were mainly focused on the Euro games, now it's heading more into the American style games. And for example, Deranged is our first American style game with all the scenarios and miniatures and game board and all this stuff.
Well, tell us a little bit about Deranged. Exactly what is this game?
This game is a semi-cooperative adventure survival game for 3 to 6 players, ages 12 and up, and one scenario, and there are 3 of them, lasts for about 2 or 3 hours. So if we're talking about gameplay, the players take turns going clockwise, and during their turn they play one single card, and they resolve 1 or 2 actions from that card or from another component, or they rest and restore some of their sanity. Because during the day, the first action you resolve is free, but another action requires to pay for it with 1 sanity. During the night, it's even worse because each of your actions costs you sanity. And the total pool is 5, so you have to keep a close eye on your mental health, or otherwise you will get insane, you will get another curse, and you will not be able to perform any actions for a while. And you decide how many actions you want to perform. And after that, if there was a time symbol on the card played, then the time token gets advanced. And at the end of the last player in the round, the time token is somewhere for now, and the monsters get activated. They move and they attack the heroes, and the heroes must defend themselves. However, when the time token crosses the border between the day and the night, the next scenario chapter is triggered, and during the night, at least one of the players will be turned into a deranged monster. So that's how the game goes, and at the end of the 3rd day, you will have to meet all those conditions in order to win.
Yep. In this game, at least one person is definitely going to become a monster?
Yeah, during each night, and the game is divided in 3 games and 3 days and 3 nights. Every night, there will be at least one player who will be turned into a monster, and this monster will have to kill a player. However, there is no player elimination, so you will not be kicked out of the game, and you will resurrect at the graveyard, and you will receive an additional curse you will have to get rid of later. And so the game goes on for 3 days and 3 nights, and at the break of the 4th dawn, there are 3 conditions that have to be met in order to win. So you win separately. There can be one winner, several winners, none of them, or all players can win if they cooperate successfully. So there are 3 conditions. You have to have no deranged token, not to be deranged. You must have no curses, and you have to get rid of out of the town and stand on the Enchanted Gates base, which emerges during the game. According to the different
What happens if everyone turns into a monster?
That's an instant end game. You are defeated and you have to play again.
Oh, so someone has to stay as a human.
Yeah, that's true.
What kind of monsters are these?
Oh, there are, you mean deranged monsters?
Yeah, so what is it deranged? Are they like werewolves or zombies or?
They are possessed monsters, and they have the whispers of this cursed town inside of them. And basically in the game, it means that their figures get replaced on the board. They start playing with another side of their cards. They don't spend their sanity. They don't advance time. They just become stronger and faster, and they have to kill somebody. And there are some more monsters the players will have to face, and it gets really, really messy sometimes.
So I'm looking at the pictures of this game, and I'm seeing some fantastic artwork. Who did the artwork for this?
That was Anton Kvasowarov. you might know him by the artwork of Bronze. The game was released in 2017 and has been recently crowdfunded for the German edition.
So how long does a game of Deranged last about?
One scenario is about 2 to 3 hours.
And it's for 3 to 6 players, and you're just trying to survive.
Survive for 3 days and 3 nights and get out of the city without any curses and not being deranged.
That's what I try to do all the time. So this game, you're going to be showing it off at Gen Con itself?
Yeah.
The game, there's a lot. I mean, it's not published yet, but there's a pretty good version of it that people will be able to see and try out there.
Yeah, it's 99% final. We will still have some feedback gathered, and we will probably have the final version for the Spiel. And I will also get some news right after Gen Con for the international presence of the game, because our international partners will have a look at it.
Alrighty, so you can check out their booth at Gen Con just a week and a half away. You'll be able to see both Deranged and the new Spyfall. Any other games that y'all have at the booth?
Yeah, we're going to demo Architectura, and the game is brought to the US market by Arcane Wonders. So check their booth out. They will have the game available for sale. So check this one out. That is a Euro city building game with really high interaction between the players, where you can build the city, and you know this game, Tom. So you should probably check the review by Tom, guys.
Alrighty, well, we appreciate you coming on our show today. Folks, we hope you see them. There's not many semi-co-op Gothic adventure games out there, and this one looks absolutely stunning. Check out Deranged at Gen Con. Thank you, Julia, for coming on the show.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks, guys.
Hey everyone, it's Nick back from Mental Health Minute, and let's talk about culling. Now, I don't have the biggest shelf behind me in the world, and I keep it that way on purpose. Because every once in a while, when I'm like, I'm not going to play this game, I'm just not going to play this game, I trade it, I sell it, I give it to somebody else, it's quick, it's easy, it's painless. But for some people, this is a very difficult process. I see shelves triple, quadruple the size of mine, and I know they're not going to play that game. They're not going to play it, but they want to keep it. And why do they want to keep it? Our brains and our memories get us attached to things. Very attached to things. And we can't let go. Because we either remember a memory from playing it, or where we got it from, or how we got it, or the story behind it. Does that mean that you're being a pack rat? No. It just means you have efficient reasons in your mind to keep that game. Now, there's a lot of times where you're culling your collection because you just have too many, and you do it all at once, and take a ton out of the collection at once. And that's easier for some people because you're just letting it all off your shoulders at once. Some people like me, once I know it's not going to work for me or stay on my collection, I just take it off. My most recent one I took off was Near and Far, traded that away because I just wasn't playing it enough. I wasn't getting anything out of it. I know somebody else could. And that attachment is very difficult. And in board games, people don't understand that in board games, this becomes a major part of our lives, and it really makes us part of what we're doing. And the game is what connects us to that. So how do you like to cull? Do you like to do it all at once? Do you like to take one at a time? Do you like to not do it ever? That's okay too. So my name is Nick from Mental Health Minute, and do enjoy your breakfast.
Hi folks, my name's Andy and welcome to Potable Gaming, the show about games which are fun to play in pubs and cafes. The year is 1970 and humanity has had to leave our planet to try and build the perfect space station to find our own home on the Range. This is a fantastic little set collection game in which you and your opponents are trying to build the best space station you can out of these giant module cards. On your turn, you will play these resource cards from your hand to try and buy the modules, building up to 4, and there are cool combos you can make where if you play the right cards, you get to add them to this, or you can play cards from your hand directly to modules you already have to score more points. You can discard cards and draw new cards. You can also play little black or white cards which will allow you to attack other players or yourself. And your aim, once you've got to have all 4 cards, is to have the most points. And it is a lot more going on than that, and I can't really go into it in 2 minutes, but it's a fantastic little game. There's a lot of depth in those little actions, there's a lot of cool abilities on all of these cards. The game has a lot of variable scoring as well, so all of the different modules will provide you different levels of points depending on what combination you have. If you get multiple of the same, you might get special player powers, but that might come at the detriment of points. And it is a fantastically fun game. It is gorgeous. The art is this kind of really cool retro-futuristic 1970s. Matt Jude called it Tupperware aesthetic, and that nails it. And it is really cool. It's chock full of pop culture references, and it's very, very funny. One of the coolest things, once you've finished your base will give you like a 4-digit code, which will allow you to pick one of the stories from this book, which are all hilarious. It is a bit big. The tarot cards, while stunning, are a little bit large, so you might want to have a larger table, perhaps a double mat situation while playing this, but really most players just need space to put forward in front of them and hold some of these cards. And I highly recommend it. I backed this on Kickstarter, and I backed it mostly because it looked like a cool little eye thing, but it is so much better than I thought it would be, and I really like it, and I highly recommend it. So that is Home on the Range. Anyway, folks, thanks very much. I've been Andy, and it's your round.
This past week at my church that I attend, we ran Vacation Bible School. If you don't know Vacation Bible School, it's a week-long program where kids come in, and it's like almost like a little bit of a summer camp, and there's different activities, and there's different like things that the kids can do. One of the things is games, and they asked me to be in charge of games this year. So I did a lot of different games. I ran a night where there was Pitchcard, had a lot of fun with that. I also learned things like I ran a night where I played kickball and found out that many kids in America don't know how to play kickball. Apparently they don't play kickball, at least in my area, at schools anymore. They're doing other things. I actually had to teach kids how to run bases and stuff. And we're talking 3rd and 4th graders. When I was a kid, we played kickball every day. But I decided to run some inside games because it's really hot in Florida. And so I'm just making stuff up. I like to make up games. I like to do various games, and sometimes they work well, sometimes they don't. So I went to Party City, and I bought a bunch of these. They're different containers of various colors, and I put these containers all over the table. And then I brought a bunch of these hacky sack sports balls. And what I did was I split the kids into 2 teams, and a kid would come up and they could take any 3 of the balls they wanted, and they would stand behind a line and toss them at the bins. And I made the bins versus various points, like red bins are 1, pinks are 2, blues are 3, greens are 4, blacks are 5, etc. But before they went, each child had a choice: change or move. If they picked move, I would take a bin and move it to a different location, usually closer to the person throwing the ball. But if they picked change, and once they started picking change, that was what they did most of the time, I changed the point values of the different things. I might say soccer balls are now worth double. The pink bin, instead of being worth 1 point, is now worth 10. The red bin, instead of being worth 1 point, is 15. My hat that was just sitting there that no one was paying attention to is suddenly 50 points. And the points just keep going up and up and up and up. And the kids went berserk. They loved it. And, you know, at the beginning, they get 2, 6, 7 points. Pretty soon near the end, they're scoring 850 points, 2,370 points. You know, huge amounts of points. And the game just ratcheted up in excitement. Here's the thing. It's a bad game by my own standards. By my own standards, at the very end, when a kid throws a ball that's times 10 into a 1,000 cup and makes 10,000 points, that invalidates pretty much every turn that comes before it. If this was a board game, I would say, what is wrong with them? Why did I even play the first part of the game when this happened? And I wondered, like, are the kids going to say the same thing? And they didn't. They didn't care. They loved this excitement. They loved picking change and watching what I would do. Or sometimes move, and then the hat suddenly moves closer. And wait, should I try for that closer one here or for the 1,000-point one over there? And they loved that excitement. There was screaming and yelling. And I did 4 different groups came through and did this game, from teenagers who were too cool for school to little kids who didn't know how to, you know, if the numbers I was putting up there were correct. But all of them liked it, even the hardened teenagers. And I was really surprised by it. I was surprised because not all my games go over very well, but I was also surprised because of what I just said, that the game itself is clearly not good game design, but it was fun game design. And there's something to be said for excitement. And this makes me think about games, because I've said this about games before, like, oh, the final turn was all the points, and this was, you know, but there's sometimes a level of excitement in games. Now, granted, this works sometimes better in a live situation with a team versus team. I'll watch a game show, and the third round, I'm like, or Family Feud or whatever, I'm like, why would the first rounds even existed? Why is Jeopardy around when Double Jeopardy exists? And, you know, whatever it might be. But it's that excitement level. And in team sense, that excitement level can grow really high. And I could do a whole segment on this, that I thought about doing it before when you're working with games with kids. If there's one thing I learned, that if a game does not cause that excitement level after a few minutes in, then get rid of it and have your backup game, and always have a backup game, because you're never sure if a game is going to go over well. But when I was done with this, I realized, kids are way more fun to play games with than adults. If you saw, I put up a few weeks ago, Pitchcard tournament with kids, and that was so much more fascinating. I mean, the adults were fun, don't get me wrong, we had a great time. But the kids, they cheer for each other, they get excited, they sit there, and every part of it is really important. But at the end of the day, they also sleep at night because it's not that big of a deal. Adults often take games more seriously, and they don't get as excited, but they also get more irritated when they lose. And that's, of course, generalization is not always the case. But man, I had so much fun playing this stupid game where you had to throw balls into these little colored things. And sometimes we get kind of snooty about games, and I'll break my own rule and probably get snooty about some games I review this week to some degree. But sometimes games are just silly, laugh out loud fun. And that's that excitement level, that level of everything else doesn't matter except for this ball that I'm throwing right now, and everyone is on the edge of their seats watching me do it. A game that can capture that is a game that's a lot of fun to play.
Hi, I'm Jordan.
I'm May. I'm Maya.
And this is Second Chance Kid Shelf, where I'm looking back at past Spiel des Jahres winners and nominees. This week we are looking at The Enchanted Tower by Inka and Marcus Brandt. This won the Kinderspiel Award in 2013.
Let's look inside the box. Let's look inside the box.
Enchanted Tower is an all versus one game. One player takes the role of the evil sorcerer who has hidden a key to unlock the captured princess. Before the game, the sorcerer hides the key underneath one of these spaces, and then the other player is charged with trying to find the key before the sorcerer does. They have a head start before the sorcerer. On a turn, players roll the dice. Whoever shows up on this die gets to go first, and they move this number of spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They can move any direction they want along any path, just trying to cover on these spaces. The other player then also moves their person as well. The play continues until one of the players finds the key. They'll know they found the key because it sticks underneath with a magnet. Then they try to find which keyhole this goes into. If they're incorrect, the board resets and they play again. If they are correct, the princess pops out, and that player who found the key wins the game. Well, that's a quick look at the Enchanted Tower. May, what do you think?
I like the part where we have to find where the the key goes, and then if you get one, you have to start it all over.
That's true. You do have to kind of replay the game every time you find the key and you get it in the wrong hole.
Yeah.
I like how the key is magnetic and it sticks to the base of the players. I think that's a really cool part of the game.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. Do you like it, May, as a kid?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm Jordan.
I'm May.
Happy breakfast.
Bye. Why is it breakfast?
And that's it for another Board Game Breakfast. Thanks so much to all my contributors for the fantastic job that they always do. Thanks so much to each and every one of you who comes and watches us every week. We can't wait to talk to you all throughout our live stuff that we do this week. We hope you enjoyed the videos that we post this week. Until next time, though, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast on the Dice Tower. Check out Game Toppers for that contest and win one of those fantastic mats.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff, in stock, at coolstuffinc.com.
Oh.
Oh, she's so...